trying to tell these cats what I let them do they thing. Ready for the bad news till the phone ring. Son is dead now anyway. Over my head, seeking revenge, son. Been son, you been half trying to laugh out the drill gun. Seal guns play the hum. For real sons. For you motherfucking
Hello everyone, welcome to another stream. So give me just 1 second to check if everything is working as it should be. Another stream. Okay, looks like we are working. Trading view is live. Let me just open the chat. On the side, pop out chat. Let's see. Okay, we should be completely operational. So welcome everyone. Hope everyone is doing well. Friday today. Yesterday I was on a little bit of a vacation, so I didn't really do a stream, but we're gonna do it today. We're gonna go through the markets. So I would say the big story for today is Bitcoin crushing all-time highs. So pushing higher with a lot of force. Looks very bullish. We touched the 118 mark. Okay, so 118 was the top. I think we could definitely continue going higher all the way to, let's say, 130. I think the 130 level could be a nice target. I'm actively considering buy setups. If I check the fundamentals quickly, let me just see the fundamentals. Let's take a look at the fundamentals. So for the fundamentals, Bitcoin, I think it's a bit neutral here on the Edge Finder. Yeah, it's a bit neutral. So I would probably need to see the Edge Finder give me a bullish signal, and then I would consider some nice technical buys. Just as far as the charts go, as far as technical analysis goes, I would like to see an entry on the 1 hour chart, but I wouldn't really buy here on the top. Okay, I think we are a little bit overextended. I would prefer for us to, let's say, go back to these levels. Okay, to retest these levels, pull back a little bit, bounce, and then give me an entry on the 1 hour chart. So my main goal with this strategy is not to be buying straight on the top or straight on the bottom, because there's a high chance of a pullback before the price actually continues going up, if the price is overextended. That is also where the 20 EMA, helps as well, okay? That is this line right here, 20 EMA. It helps because you can see when the current price is very far away from the 20 EMA, that means we are overextended and we could see a pullback pretty soon. When the price is close to the 20 EMA, for example, Here is Bitcoin. So this level, this level, this level. Okay, those are kind of good levels to get in on biceps. Ooh, what? No. So I did take a buy position back on the 10th of June. Okay, so on June I took a buy position. Unfortunately, I did get stopped out for a loss, but I still do have my long-term trades running. Okay, so sorry, long-term investments. I did buy Bitcoin. I bought some Ethereum as well as kind of long-term investment. So we will see. Ethereum is around my break-even price. I think I bought it around this level back in November. But Bitcoin, I bought it, I think, here in November as well. So yeah, that's like a, let's see, 43% gain. I would say that's pretty good for just a couple of months. That's pretty amazing, actually. So all of my investments are doing pretty well, I have to say. I have the S&P. I am invested in the S&P. Bought it, I think, here, and somewhere around here, I believe, or here. So 3 times during the dip. And yeah, now up pretty nicely on my Interactive Brokers account. So let's get into the markets. What has been happening? Well, the main story is rate cuts. Everyone wants to know what is going to happen with rate cuts. Will there be rate cuts? How big the rate cuts will be? For that, we could take a quick glance. Okay, we could take a quick glance on the Fed Watch tool. So if we go to here, we go to Fed Watch tool. Here we should see some rate cut possibilities. Okay, so July, nothing. September, actually a 60% chance of a cut in September. Okay, that's interesting. And then October, it's going to be definitely kind of a big chance of a cut. And in December, there's like a 95.8% chance that there will be rate cuts. So as far as the current state of the markets go, or current state of the Fed, rate cuts are coming. Okay, rate cuts are coming. They are priced in the markets. S&P 500 is very bullish, just continuing to crush higher. In terms of tariff news, well, we don't have a lot of drama, I would say. There are some deals being done. Some countries are apparently going to get tariffed. We did have the big deadline for tariffs, which should have been this Wednesday, 9th of July. But of course, Trump postponed it for the 1st of August. That's how he got the nickname Taco, which is Trump always chickens out. Okay, so that's the new nickname for Trump. And yeah, it's pretty funny what he's doing with the tariffs, just postponing the deadlines, extending, let's say, grace periods. So yeah, he's kind of not that serious about tariffs. It's more of a big threat, but behind the threat, so far there hasn't been a lot of material. Okay, or it hasn't really carried a lot of weight. We'll see what will happen on the 1st of August. Maybe he will postpone that date even more. I don't think he will. I think there will be some tariffs. But I think by then we could get a deal between the United States and Europe, which would be pretty important because US and EU are huge trade partners. And it's a huge chunk of trade being done. Okay, so if they get a deal done, that would be great for the markets. Markets would definitely love that. S&P would love that. I think the DAX would love that. NASDAQ would love it. So we could see some very interesting stuff. Okay. As far as the DXY goes, we're gonna take a look at the dollar. I think if you want to gauge risk on, risk off, or if you want to gauge generally what is happening in the markets, first to focus on the US market because the US market is the biggest one. And then I would suggest always looking at what is the S&P 500 doing, what is the DXY doing. Okay, so what is the S&P, what is the DXY doing? Well, the DXY, S&P is crushing higher. I expect it to go even higher. The DXY is in a very bearish downtrend, okay? Very bearish downtrend. Now, this trend line is sort of being respected. And I can see, as far as social media goes, a lot of traders seem to be short on the US dollar. Okay, so a lot of them seem to be short on the US dollar, which means going short is a very crowded trade, right? Very crowded trade, as mean, when we say going short on the dollar, we can go to market sentiment, retail sentiment, and if we take a look at, let's say, the euro dollar, if we just do, okay, I mean, you can see it right there, euro USD. A lot of retail is short on EU. We can see the put to call ratio, also euro dollar. Can we see that? Okay, unfortunately we cannot. That's okay. Investor sentiment, you can see with the investor sentiment that we're actually getting more and more bullish as far as retail investors go. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. So the summary for that would be going short on the dollar is a very, very crowded trade. Okay, very crowded trade. A lot of traders are short. That probably means you don't want to be short right now. You know, I do think we are due for a little bit of a bounce. If you also look at the things such as the US economy, the impact is kind of neutral. You know, all of the fundamental data that is coming in, we had a very strong NFP number, very strong NFP number. All of the data that's coming in is looking neutral, you know, like only 53.85% of the news is coming in bullish. If we take a look at, let's say, EU, actually the euro is extremely bullish. Whoa, okay, we had retail sales, we had PPI. I think we also had some Canadian news today. Yeah, we did. Okay, unemployment rate, we had some bullish news for the CAD. Okay, that is interesting. So my forecast is that we could go up a little bit more. You know, this week has been a pretty bullish week, I would say. Starting from Monday here, we pushed up, kept pushing higher. This is now a key level of resistance. We could go up a bit more and then drop. I do think long term, we should continue to see the dollar go lower. You know, I do think this overall downtrend on the dollar is going to get respected, but we could get that pullback first. So I'm a bit careful. I'm a bit careful when considering the dollar. Some of the levels that we could go to, we could definitely hit some lows, okay? Such as these ones, you know, level of support right there. So that's probably gonna be a 8% drop, around 8%. Yeah, I would say we could definitely hit that. This is the first significant support along the way. And we did have those kind of drops happen in the past as well. Look at this one from 2002 to 2008. This one even bigger. 85 to 87, massive sell-off, massive drop. So it's nothing new, and we could definitely see the dollar lose value in the long term. In the short term, I think it could go up a bit more. Okay. Now, in terms of the trades that I'm personally in, let's go through that. I have 4 trades running: NJ, silver, the DAX, and gold. Those are the trades running for today. Basically, NJ has been running for a lot of time now. So NJ has been running from 22nd of May. Still running. My stop loss is currently below this low right here. I'm using a trailing stop loss approach. Okay, I'm using a trailing stop loss approach for on the daily chart. So running around 3.8R, collecting swaps as well, you know, collecting positive swaps. If you are not sure what swaps are, you can go to the Edge Finder and you can find NJ, base currency rate 3.25, quote is the 0.5. Those are the interest rates. And this is the difference. If you're buying New Zealand yen, you get paid the swap fee. Okay, so every single day I get a little bit of income, just a tiny bit of income for holding New Zealand yen. Now, it's not much. It's not gonna make or break your trade, but much better that you're receiving income than if you're actually paying swaps to be in positions. And I'm definitely paying swaps on silver. I'm paying swaps on the DAX. I'm paying swaps on gold. Okay, so I'm paying to be in these trades, which is not really the best. That means I don't really want to stay in those trades for a really long time. But NJ, if NJ just continues to range around in this level, I'll be pretty happy to hold it for the next 2 to 3 months and just keep collecting that swap. I do have sort of a take profit set somewhere around this level of support right there. I'm probably going to take off the whole position if we do reach these levels, because I do think we're going to struggle at these levels, and it's going to be kind of, the price will probably be a bit overextended at those levels. So I do plan on closing the whole position if we reach these levels. If we reverse, if we drop, I will be out of the trade. Okay, I'll get taken out for a win, a nice winner. Like a 2.7, 2.8 R winner. Silver is again running really nicely, just crushing higher, okay, with a lot of force, with a lot of momentum. I took this trade on, I think it was in June. It was a liquidity sweep entry on the 1 hour chart. Right here, okay, this was a liquidity sweep. So the entry is not that important. What is important that at this time, the daily chart looked bullish. We can actually go through it like this. So the daily chart looked bullish. Fundamentals were pretty bullish. Silver had a nice breakout out of this really flat range. Silver likes to follow gold. Gold already had a massive explosion to the upside this year, so I do expect, and I did expect, silver to follow gold. So all of those confluences stacked on top of each other made for a very nice buy trade, and then I took a simple liquidity sweep entry that we teach at Zentum Trading on the 1 hour chart. And basically, I didn't take it here. I missed the initial entry, but then I set my pending order. Price did come back. Did it? It must have came back. I'm just not sure when. Okay. So, yeah. On the 30th of June, price did come back to my entry. I had a buy limit set, got taken in, and now it's running pretty nicely. So yeah, this is a really nice winner, running around, let's see, around 2R, 2.2, something like that. So yeah, pretty healthy trade. I'm gonna trail the position if I don't get taken out. Hopefully silver does continue going up. If that happens, I'll just move my trailing stop loss below the swing lows. If silver does decide to take me out, well then, I'll get taken out for probably, I'm not sure if I'll move my stop after today. I'm waiting for the close of this daily candle, so I'm waiting for the next 5 hours. And then I will decide, will I put the stop loss in to break even, or will I maybe even move the stop loss to let's say, this low, underneath this low, you know. I may do that, possibly, or maybe at the end of the week, I'll see. So right now I do still have the full risk on the table, thinking of reducing my risk, thinking of putting the trailing stop loss into profit, okay. So that's it for silver. My DAX trade, which I did I take it this week? Yeah, I did. Okay, cool. On Monday. So yeah, this has been running from Monday. It was a break and retest trade. Okay, very simple break and retest position. But again, with this strategy, I do have two strategies, the fundamental strategy and the technical strategy. With this strategy, I don't really care about the entry. The entry can be pretty bad, and I'm still going to take it if you have everything else going for the trade. And at this point, you had a nice uptrend on the daily chart. You also had the fundamentals for the DAX, which were pretty bullish. Okay, bullish fundamentals on the DAX. You had a breakout to all-time highs, retest of this level of support. I did take an initial position right there. Okay, that was the initial position. Got taken out for a loss and then decided to re-enter. Decided to re-enter this trade. And during the week, we actually had a quite big move up. Quite big move up. We went up around, let's see, 2.6%, pretty massive. Unfortunately, yesterday and today, we started dropping, we started retracing, we started to pull back. So now this is running a little bit of profit, but again, we almost retraced all of this move. So that's not really the best. That's not really great to see, but my game plan is to just keep holding this position, okay? So I'm gonna keep holding the DAX, gonna keep trailing the stop loss, seeing what will happen. Right now, if I do get taken out, it'll be a full loss, okay? It would be a full 1% loss right there. So yeah, I mean, we did break into all-time highs. I can see it with this candle, but we just rejected quite heavily. Hopefully we don't just go back into the range. I think the worst part would be if we just go back into the range and do something like this. That would not be the best option here on the DAX. So yeah, I wouldn't really like to see that. The fourth trade is on gold. And this one, I didn't take it on all of my accounts. I took it on my prop firm accounts because the silver trade I showed you, I did not get taken in on some of my prop accounts. So I decided to take a gold position on those. So this trade is not running on my personal account, but it is running on my prop firm accounts. And it's running some decent profit, I would say. It's doing okay. Took it pretty recently, so yesterday. Again, break and retest position, very simple. Right here, price kind of breaks the high, retests the high, we got some bullish momentum. So the 1 hour entry looks okay, nothing to write home about, but fits my plan for this strategy. Stop loss, I put it here, okay, underneath these lows. What was really important was the daily chart. The daily chart looked pretty healthy. You know, overall, we are in a huge uptrend. We are respecting this trend line. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 points in the trend line. My stop loss is just below this swing low. I think gold is a nice hedge, okay? I think gold is a nice hedge if something goes wrong with the tariffs, if there's an escalation of a war between Israel and Iran, let's say, or any other escalations. So I do have risk on positions. Risk on positions are NJ and silver, okay? NJ and silver are risk on positions. or no, sorry, not silver, NJ and the DAX. They are risk on positions. So in order to counter that, why not take a trade on gold? Why not take a trade on gold? Because it is a nice hedge. It's in an uptrend. Fundamentals were bullish at this point when I took it. So yeah, I didn't take it with a full risk. I took it with, I think, 0.25% risk. So a pretty small position. But nevertheless, if there's a problem with the tariffs or any other crisis, gold should go up in value and I should bring a profit with this trade, even if I get taken out from the DAX, even if I get taken out on the New Zealand yen. Karim, hey, what's up? Ethereum soaring, pullback soon, feeling FOMO. Yeah, so I was looking at this at the beginning. Ethereum looking pretty healthy right here. You know, we had that massive explosion on the 8th of May. And now again, Ethereum following Bitcoin, which is something that hasn't really happened recently, okay? Because if you look at the daily chart, Bitcoin had a really nice move up to all-time highs, you know. It is currently at all-time highs. Ethereum really melted down a lot. You know, Ethereum really went lower. So could we do something like this? BTC USD / ETH USD. Let's see that. Coinbase. Yeah, see, so this is kind of the ratio of Bitcoin to Ethereum. And you can see that Bitcoin definitely outperformed Ethereum in 2025. Definite outperformance. Then a bit of a drop, and now it started dropping a little bit more once again. I do think Bitcoin is a better play. I like it more. It looks more bullish, looks stronger. I mean, it looks more decisive. It's currently at all-time highs. Ethereum, I don't like this massive meltdown. I don't like that the all-time high is here. So to reach the all-time high, we would need to go around 65%, okay? But I do think, to be honest, I do think eventually Ethereum will hit all-time highs. Maybe not in the next 2 to 3 years, but in the period of the next, let's say 5 to 10 years, I do think Ethereum will be at all-time highs, and that the traders that had a lot of Ethereum, that were heavily invested in Ethereum, will make a lot of money. I know one example is Griff, so my colleague at Zentum Trading. He doesn't hold any Bitcoin as far as I know. He only holds Ethereum, and he actually bought some during the dip. I think he actually bought some Ethereum straight on these lows, okay? So yeah, straight on the lows. Takes a lot of courage, which he has. So now it is paying off. From these lows, we are up. Let's see, 107%. That's amazing. That's quite a big gain. So you're asking for a pullback. I don't know. Crypto just, it goes up and it doesn't tend to stop. You know, look at this move. Did it really stop? Well, maybe in June it did, but look at this explosion. It didn't really stop. It didn't really give you a massive pullback. This one, you know. So it's tough with crypto. It's very explosive. You get minimal pullbacks. Okay, this was a bigger pullback. But I would say overall you get minimal pullbacks and you get very little opportunities to actually get in. So that is why for crypto, I like to be an investor. I like to be an investor and I like to try to buy the dips. You know, if you bought a little bit of Bitcoin right there, if you bought some Bitcoin during this consolidation, or maybe this one, well, if you bought here, you would be pretty well off. But that is generally why a more of an investment strategy, in my opinion, works better on crypto than a trading strategy. Because a trading strategy, you would prefer to get the pullbacks. And if you don't get the pullbacks, if the price is very erratic, if in a few days price goes up 20, 30%, or even more, it's pretty tough to trade. So yeah, I know you're feeling some FOMO. Depends on if you're an investor or a trader. You know, if you're an investor, you must have some Ethereum by now. If you're a trader, well, then I would say don't feel FOMO, because there's always something moving, you know. Maybe you're trading only crypto. In that case, you could be stuck in a crypto winter on some periods. But if you're a general trader and you're trading Bitcoin and Ethereum as regular assets, there's always something else that's moving. So you have a lot of other stuff you could take a look at if you missed this push up. And also, I mean, a pullback will eventually happen. You know, it's not like you're never going to get a pullback. A pullback will happen. The question is when, because you get these large moves before eventually the pullback happens. So if you're patient enough, if you can wait, then you're going to get paid. But if you want to jump in right now, maybe that's good for an investment strategy, because we are at all-time highs, and all-time highs, they tend to break out with a lot of force, except here. But here, this breakout was pretty significant. You know, we just pushed higher and continued up for quite a lot of percentage, 40%, right? So as an investor, you could try to get in, you know, even at the all-time highs, right? Because I do think Bitcoin could go up more. I do think Ethereum will go up more. Targets 130. You know, 130 seems to be a good target in my mind, but you never know. Bitcoin can go up a lot more. So Karim says, what indicators are you using? The only indicator that I'm using, which is not really an indicator, is this one, GT indicator, okay? And the red lines and the most recent high breaks, and also the 20 EMA, okay? So two indicators. This one, GT recent high low, and the moving average exponential, okay? But to be honest, you could do without them, you know, or I could do without them. I'm not really heavily relying on indicators. I could take a look at a clean chart, and I could pretty much get the same opinion, get the same gauge of what is going on, and make the same trading decisions. But this helps sometimes when I'm on the phone, for example, or when I may miss something, miss a high, miss a low, miss a swing high, miss a swing low. 20 EMA helps identifying when the price is overextended. You know, if I'm gonna be a trader on Bitcoin, which I do trade Bitcoin, I don't really want to buy right here. I don't really want to buy on these highs. I would much rather wait to see the price pull back, you know, retest this level of support. So pull back to the level of support, and then I would be a buyer like this. And then I can get in, because I'm getting in at a better price. I'm getting in at a better risk reward. You know, if you got in here, you could aim for the highs. Let's say we got in a bit lower, you get a positive risk reward. But if you're buying straight on the top, well, now you must have a big stop loss. Your potential take profit is really small if you're targeting only the highs. So yeah, you want to try and aim for a good risk to reward, preferably a positive risk reward. So that is why the 20 EMA helps, because if the price is very far away from the 20 EMA, you know that the price is overextended. So it's better to look for a pullback. So we went through gold. I have this position. It's running. I'm going to trail this. Not running much, around maybe a 1-to-1 with this stop loss. Again, it's like a 0.25% risk trade. In terms of fundamentals, let's quickly check them on the Edge Finder. If we look at silver, silver is bullish. Okay, gold is bullish as well. Whoa, okay. COT, institutional money looks to be long. Let's see institutional COT data, last update, 7th of July. Okay, So the next update should be maybe on the 14th, on Monday. Let's see. Silver, yeah, they definitely bought silver. Gold, they bought gold as well. Interesting. Okay, so they bought silver, they bought gold. This is what the institutional money is doing, if you guys don't know. So the COTS, Commitment of Traders report, big banks, big hedge funds, big money, what are they doing? Are they buying? Are they selling? You want to essentially follow them. You want to do the exact opposite of what the retail is doing. So if we take a look at what the retail is doing, retail is actually shorting. They are short on gold. So that's a pretty good sign for us to be long. The best possible setup, let's see, put to call ratio, okay. So the best possible setup that you can have is if institutional money is long and if retail positioning is short. That's when you get the best signal, because institutional money is right most of the time. Retail positioning or retail traders are wrong most of the time. Okay, so that is how you want to plan out your trading. That is how you can add an extra confluence for your trading. NASDAQ, so these are some of the other things I have on the watch list. This is for the fundamental strategy. I have 4 trades and I have 4 assets or 4 instruments I'm actually looking to buy this week, next week, this month, let's say. So the NASDAQ, I'm bullish. I'm looking for pullbacks. Looking at this level to buy, I would like to see the price decent lower, bounce, give me an entry. So right now, I do believe we are a bit overextended. I would first like to see a pullback. I think we are slowing down a little bit. So yeah, I don't really want to be a buyer here. Also, retail positioning is long right there. Okay, so retail money is long, which is not the best bullish sign. Let's wait a little bit. We could get a bit of a pullback of, let's say, 3.7%. I think that would be pretty healthy. And that would enable me to get into a buy position. Euro dollar. Now for euro dollar, it's a bit tricky. Okay, it's a little bit tricky. Let's move the alert. Because right now, a lot of traders, as I mentioned on the beginning of the stream, a lot of traders are short on the dollar. A lot of traders are going short on the dollar. So it's a very crowded trade. You know, the idea to go short on the dollar, everyone knows about it. Every single person is probably going short on the dollar. That means it's a crowded position. That means you probably want to do the exact opposite. So buying the euro dollar is essentially going short on the dollar and going long on the euro. But buying the euro dollar right now, I'm not sure if it's the smartest thing. We definitely were a bit overextended, and I was talking about this on my last live stream. Okay, on my last stream, I said that this was overextended. I said that I don't want to be a buyer in this market, and we did start to pull back. We have touched the 20 MA, which is good. Okay, that's a good sign. That is a sign of a healthy market. My level of support that I'm looking at is right here. This is the level where I'm looking for potential buy setups. Okay, so looking for potential buy setups there. But even if we do reach that level, I'm not sure if I will take a buy setup, because as I mentioned, the going short on the dollar is a really crowded trade right now. I do think we could get a bit of a bounce on the DXY. Okay, I think we could go up a bit more, and that is going to stop me out of my position if I do take a buy setup on the euro dollar. I'll have to think about it. So I'm waiting for my alert to be hit. Fundamentals are, I believe they are still bullish. Okay, they have switched to being neutral, actually. So they have switched to being neutral. That's another problem, right? That's another problem. So I may actually remove this one from the watch list. Let me do that. Since we have lost the bullish reading, I'm going to remove it from the watch list. For me to be interested in buy setups, I would have to get first fundamentals. They would need to be bullish. Second, I would need to see the market sentiment or the macroeconomics switch back to being very short on the US dollar, okay? Because right now it's kind of neutral / maybe even bullish. Until that happens, I will be patient. So next one on the list is NZD CAD. New Zealand CAD. So what is the New Zealand CAD doing? Why am I interested for buy setups? Well, essentially, I'm looking for buy setups. Let me also set an alert right here. Because of fundamentals. If we go to the Edge Finder, if we go to economic heat maps, and you can see the currencies. The strongest currency currently is the New Zealand, and the weakest one is going to be the CAD, the Canadian dollar. Okay, that is going to be the weakest one. So essentially, going long on NZD CAD seems like a really good fundamental option. We did have some CAD news which came in bullish, so that changes the picture a little bit. But overall, if you look at what's happening, overall we are still very bullish on the NZD and very bearish on the CAD. Let me quickly check NZD. Okay, we got some manufacturing PMIs yesterday, right? Yeah, we did. Okay. So from this table, which is telling you which currency is the strongest, which is the weakest, according to fundamentals, buying NZD, going short on the CAD seems to be the smartest option. Now, in terms of technical analysis, we are in a really flat range. Really flat range. Super flat. So what I could do is how I could structure a trade opportunity is possibly I could be looking to buy the lows of the range and sell the highs. You know, I'm not sure if we're gonna have a big breakout to the upside. This would not really be a trend following position. Okay, not really a trend following position, but more of a mean reversion position, you could say. So just buying the lows, price should go up, and once it hits the highs, probably sell. You know, so something like this. Let's say you have a positive risk to reward. And I would say this is a pretty healthy trade. So yeah, considering getting in on NZD CAD, right now we are sort of in the middle of the range, which is a bit unfortunate. So let me just check something. Yeah, right now we are in the middle of the range, so I would need to see the price go a bit lower. I would prefer to see the price go a bit lower, and then I would look for an entry setup right there. So this is a little bit of a different trade, a little bit different than my usual style of trend following. Right, this is more of a mean reversion trade. Maybe I can get in on a liquidity sweep entry. Let me see that. If we move this a bit lower. Yeah, I mean, if we do sweep these lows, so if this happens, I could definitely get in right there with a stop loss that's below the lows. Let's see on the daily chart. That would definitely work, positive risk to reward. So I'm looking at this and I'm considering buy setups. Russell, I also have on the watch list. I'm looking at the Russell. The reason is I'm bullish on the US stock market as a whole. So bullish on the NASDAQ, bullish on the S&P, bullish on the US 30, which is the Dow Jones. Russell, I'm bullish as well. Russell hasn't yet reached the all-time highs. Okay, so Russell still has some room to go to these all-time highs. It can still appreciate for around 10%, right? That could definitely happen. We could go up for 10%, more. So I'm considering buy setups, same as on the NASDAQ. So Nasdaq is already at the all-time highs. That's why I think the Russell could play a catch-up trade, you know? So the Russell may be lagging behind the Nasdaq, lagging behind the S&P 500, and could eventually get to those all-time highs. Now I'm looking for a bit of a pullback. I have my alerts set. The support level I'm paying attention to is right there. That is my support level. So if it hits, I'm gonna consider getting in on a buy setup on the Russell. So yeah, I had the opportunity to get in right there. We were a bit overextended. You know, look at the 20 MA, look at the current price. At that point, it was a big gap. Then we pulled back a little bit, broke the high, started pulling back again. I think we could get some bearish movement. I think we could touch this level. On the Nasdaq, maybe not so much. You know, maybe not so much on the Nasdaq. Even if we do get a pullback, we may not get a big enough pullback to hit my support level. We may just bounce and go up. So the Russell is interesting. The Russell could produce a potential buy opportunity for me. Okay. That's kind of it for my watch list. That's it for this fundamental strategy. Now let's go through some currencies and for the technical strategy that we teach at Zentum Trading. So let me see what's going on there. Because the JPY pairs have definitely been moving. The dollar pairs not so much. So just for anyone that's new or anyone that's wondering about this strategy or anyone that's watching the recording of this live stream, so this strategy, purely 1 hour chart, no indicators, no news, just price action, just technical analysis, that's it, okay? The interesting thing is that I'm using the same 1 hour chart entries for this strategy and for my fundamental strategy. Okay, so the euro dollar on the 1 hour chart just seems quite descending, you know, breaking those lows and retracing, leaving huge wicks, very descending. Here I'm not looking for, or not, I'm not seeing any entries on the 1 hour chart. GBP USD is also descending on the 1 hour chart, going lower. Let's see it on the daily quickly. Okay, looks like on the daily we are maybe respecting this trend line right here. So possibly respecting the trend line on the daily chart. But as far as the 1 hour chart goes, yeah, I'm seeing a descending channel, breaking the lows, correctively retracing. So we could get possibly a reversal entry like this. We'll see. So far, or for now, it's not really on the watch list. Aussie dollar seems a bit corrective here. A bit volatile as well, breaking the highs, breaking the lows. Not really seeing a lot of potential for the Aussie dollar, but what is interesting is the JPY pairs. Let's quickly glance through this, what is happening. Okay, let's start with EJ. EJ is definitely on my watch list for this strategy. I like it because it looks pretty bullish. It sort of is coming from a descending channel on the 1 hour chart, which is a bullish mark. Okay, that is a bullish sign. Right there, the small descending. And I like the momentum. So the JPY pairs right now, they're looking good. We did have this break and retest opportunity, which I personally didn't take because I saw too much selling pressure in this pullback right there. So that did not fit my personal plan. Right now, looking for buy setups for this strategy, definitely. Possibly a break and retest or some sort of a flag. The unfortunate thing is my cutoff time is approaching. So my cutoff time is usually 5 p.m. London time on a Friday. Actually, that's it. You know, we have reached my cutoff time, so it's now, I would say, 5:19 London time or 6:19 my time. So no entries are gonna happen today. Cutoff time has been hit, you could say. So no entries, no more entries today. But next week, if this bullish momentum does continue, I'll be pretty happy to look for buy setups on AJ. AJ looks to be sort of ascending in terms of the structure, sort of ascending channel, which is a bearish structure. Okay, so AJ is in a bearish structure. Is it gonna be on my watch list? Not for now. Not for now. Actually, let's put it, because it's moving in a nice fashion. NJ seems a bit corrective. NJ is definitely not on my watch list for this technical strategy. Okay, what do we have on NJ? Well, we had sort of this movement up, no real entries. Then we had a huge wick down, huge wick up, this volatile momentum. And I would expect, to be honest, more range bound. I would personally expect more range bound price action on the New Zealand yen. Okay, that is what I'm looking at for. The New Zealand yen. That's kind of it for the currencies. That's it for this strategy. We went through all 6 currency pairs. So for any Zentum traders that are going to be watching this recording, now you could have a general idea of what I'm personally looking for or looking at. In terms of any other stuff, let's quickly glance through it. I still have around 10 minutes more of the stream, so around 10 more minutes. Let's see. So S&P I covered. Dow Jones, I am bullish on this one. Bullish on the Dow Jones, but not looking for buy setups. I would rather take buy setups on the Nasdaq. Dow Jones is at the all-time highs, very close to the all-time highs, so not really my preference. Nikkei, I'm not sure. Not sure about Nikkei. Let's see the Japanese stock market. So this is the Japanese stock market. Nikkei, let's see. Neutral. Okay, so the Nikkei is neutral. I haven't traded it at all. I did like these moves to the upside, but I would rather focus on, let's say, US stock indices and European stock indices. So Nikkei, I do have it here on the list, but it's not really something I'm actively looking to trade right now. Platinum had a huge explosion up. What about copper? Copper as well. Copper had a huge move up because of, I think, some tariffs were announced. Some tariffs that Trump announced. I think I saw it on Financial Juice, which is the news for, which is the website for breaking news. But platinum has had a huge explosion up. Huge explosion up. Let's see. Around 38%. That's pretty massive. I'm not sure why. I don't really follow platinum. There must have been some sort of fundamental news. But yeah, this was a very nice uptrend. Let me look at the 1 hour chart. I'm not even sure I can trade this on my IC markets or even my prop firm accounts. I don't think they have platinum. I think they do have copper, but not sure about platinum. Would they be looking for buy setups? Do we have it on the Edge Finder? Whoop. It's not the Edge Finder. Let me see. Edge Finder right there. Platinum. Neutral. Okay, so the fundamentals are a bit neutral. I would not be looking for buy setups. I also think we're a bit overextended right here. I think we are a bit too bullish. So if you're going to be a buyer here, you could be buying straight on the top. You know, you could be getting in straight on the top of this price action, which is not really the best. It screws up your risk to reward. Yeah, copper had a bullish breakout overall, not really moving much. Monthly chart kind of stagnating a bit, being a bit flat, or sort of moving up overall, but tough to get a read. Also tough to, I would say tough to get an entry. Okay, tough to get an entry on copper. Crypto we mentioned, 1 hour chart. Bitcoin explosion up, Ethereum explosion up as well. The VIX is the VIX has been going up today, which means the S&P should be down a little bit. Yeah, okay, a little bit. Let's see the daily chart. It's going to be easier. VIX, yeah, going up a little bit for today, but not much. US oil, what is US oil doing? Well, US oil had that massive explosion up and then pretty much a big correction down. This happened because of the Israel and Iran crisis. Then the crisis got resolved. So there was a move back down to, let's say, the equilibrium. And now we're ranging at around 68. US oil, I'm not paying much attention to. I don't think I'm going to be trading it anytime soon. It's a bit too volatile. It is very, it is the impact from geopolitics on oil is huge. So overnight you could get some sort of a crisis, some sort of news, and it can definitely wipe out your positions. It can even gap up, gap down. So you could get into some major trouble with oil. That is why I personally, for now, have decided to be patient with US oil. I do have it on the list. I'm seeing what US oil is doing, but being patient. Let's see, as far as fundamentals go, US oil. Bullish fundamentals. Okay, that's pretty good. So we have some bullish fundamentals, COTS, commitment of traders. So that means the big money is long. Retail is actually short. So we're getting a bullish signal from that. That's great. You want the institutional money to be long. You want the retail to be short. Then you can be bullish. 10-year yield climbing higher. You also have the big beautiful bill, which is something I forgot to mention. So Trump's big beautiful bill, a lot of new spending, a lot of government spending that should increase the stock market. So that should make the stock market go up, but it can increase inflation as well, or it definitely will increase inflation. So much of that spending increases inflation. Investor confidence falls. You know, investors in the US bonds, they don't like inflation, so they sell bonds and yields go up, right? They sell bonds, yields go up. US definitely doesn't want to see the yields go up. It would be great to see the yields go down, okay? To see the yields go down for the US bonds. So that's going to be interesting, but so far I'm seeing the bill is going to get passed. I mean, there's a very high chance that the bill will get passed, or if it may have already been passed, and in the bill there's just massive amounts of spending, and the end result is as I broke it down. So bullish for the stock market, inflation goes up. I would say it is for the dollar, the reaction on the dollar, I'm going to have to look into that, but so far it has been possibly a little bit of a bullish reaction. I just know the yields, because of the big beautiful bill, the yields should go up. Because, again, if inflation goes up, investors lose confidence in the US, they sell bonds, that makes the yields go up. So what the US would like to see is yields going down. This is what they would prefer to see. A drop in the, let's say, the 10-year treasury bond or government bond yield. The last thing I'm going to do is cover the DXY and the JXY. So the DXY measures the strength of the US dollar relative to other currencies. I already covered this at the beginning of the stream, so I'm not going to waste too much time. I am short-term bullish, long-term bearish. So how I would say that this could play out is we could go up a bit more and then overall drop. Because rate cuts are coming, in my opinion. There will be at least one rate cut this year, possibly even two. Currently priced in 2 rate cuts. Rate cuts make the US dollar go down in value. Okay, rate cuts make the US dollar go down in value. So I think by the end of the year, we should see the DXY go lower. But in the short term, this tariff drama looks to be, the tariff drama yields Trump's big beautiful bill. They seem to be pushing the dollar a bit higher, possibly. Okay, pushing the dollar higher. And JXY kind of flat. You know, kind of flat in this range. Short term bearish. This is a kind of a big slide lower. Let's see from the peak. 3% slide. We could go to these levels and then bounce like this. In terms of fundamentals, let's see the edge finder. Let's see. JP, actually bullish. Okay, we're getting some bullish fundamental news for the yen as a currency and for the stock market as well. Okay, not that bullish, not crazy bullish, but yeah, we're getting more bullish than bearish data. So short-term bearish, I would say, but long-term bullish. So we could see a bounce and then continuing to range around. I'm not getting a very clear reading on the uptrend or the downtrend as I'm getting on the DXY. It's pretty easy to deduce that this is in an overall downtrend. The JXY seems to be flat in this area. So I only can forecast the price action to be more flat. You know, until I see a breakout of, let's say, this low or these highs, until I see a decisive breakout, I'm just gonna say this is going to range around these levels. As far as interest rates go, let's check that. So Japan interest rate. Let's see. Chart. Okay, so they have actually been hiking rates, which is bullish for the yen, but they paused recently. They paused with the hikes, so that makes it more neutral for the Japanese yen. Okay, that makes it more neutral. And we have reached the end of the stream. That's it. Thank you guys for watching. Yeah, sorry about the late stream on a Friday. I know markets are soon gonna be closing and there's not a lot of activity, but yeah, I came back from vacation, so this was kind of the only time that made sense for the stream. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you want to join Zentum Trading for free, well, you can do so by going to Zentum Trading, join for free right there. Okay, I'm gonna put the link in the description. If you want to get updates of when I will be live streaming, make sure you follow me on Instagram. Trading Journey. My Instagram handle is @MarcosTradingJourney. It's in the chat, so you can take a look at that. And all of my links are also in the description of this stream. So thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you also to the guys watching the recording of the stream, and I will see you guys next week. Gonna do it on Thursday, most likely. Gonna try and stream on Thursday, my regular time, which is around 5 p.m. London time. That's my regular streaming time. So thank you. See you.